The diamond bracelet was gone. My socialite reputation was shattered, and all eyes turned to the quiet, impoverished maid. I was ready to ruin her life to save my own. But how was I supposed to know the truth would come from a 4-year-old girl? What could a child possibly have seen that would tear my entire world apart? Savannah, Georgia. The air is thick with humidity and old money. I'm Evelyn Hawthorne, the queen of my gilded cage, a historic mansion overlooking Forsyth Park. My world is a curated display of designer dresses and charity galas. My husband, Robert, is a hedge fund manager whose smile is as cold as the marble floors. Our struggle is silent, a marriage held together by appearances and a mutual fear of scandal. Then there's Maria, our live-in maid. She's a young, single mother from the other side of town, her hands raw from work, her only treasure her 4-year-old daughter, Chloe. The core struggle isn't about a missing bracelet. It's about the chasm between my world of lies and her world of quiet dignity. The emotional groundwork is the unspoken contempt I hold for anyone who threatens my perfect facade. The stage is set for a single spark to ignite it all. It was the morning after my annual spring gala. Sunlight streamed into the master suite, glinting off empty champagne flutes. I went to my jewelry armoire to put my Cartier bracelet away. The velvet-lined slot was empty. My blood ran cold. "Robert!" I screamed, my voice echoing through the vast house. We turned the room upside down. Nothing. "It has to be her," Robert hissed, his voice a low, venomous whisper. "Who else?" "It's always the help." I stormed into Maria's small, sparse quarters adjacent to the kitchen. She was folding Chloe's tiny clothes. "Empty your bags." "Now," I demanded, my voice trembling with a performative rage. Maria's eyes widened with a mix of fear and defiance. "I would never, Mrs. Hawthorne." We ripped apart her room. Robert, playing the part of the outraged patriarch, found a pawnshop ticket tucked inside a Bible on her nightstand. "Got her," he said, a triumphant smirk on his face. The look of sheer betrayal on Maria's face was something I chose to ignore. I called the police. As 2 officers stood in my foyer, I pointed a trembling finger at Maria. "She stole a $70,000 bracelet." Maria clutched Chloe to her legs, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't. That ticket is for my mother's silver cross." I would never. I was unmoved, lost in my self-righteous fury. This was a simple equation: her ruin or my embarrassment. As the officer began to read, "Maria, her rights," a tiny voice piped up from behind the kitchen door. "Mommy? Why is the shiny thing in the garden?" Little Chloe, clutching a worn-out teddy bear, pointed through the grand window towards the sprawling oak tree in the center of the garden. My breath hitched. "Don't be silly, sweetie," I said, trying to shush her. But Chloe, insistent, toddled to the door. "The shiny thing. The man put it in the tree." A cold dread washed over me. We all followed Chloe's determined little steps out into the humid garden. She stopped beneath the ancient oak, its branches sprawling like giant arms. She pointed a tiny finger up at a hollow in the trunk, about 6 feet high. One of the officers reached in. His hand emerged holding my diamond bracelet, the gems glittering maliciously in the sun. "What man, Chloe?" the officer asked gently, kneeling down. Chloe looked around, her innocent eyes scanning our faces. She finally pointed directly at my husband, Robert, the man with the loud voice. He was angry. He put the shiny thing in the tree when the moon was out. The world stopped. Robert's face went from smug assurance to ashen terror in a heartbeat. The elaborate lie he'd constructed, and that I had so eagerly believed, crumbled in an instant. Exposed by a child's unvarnished truth, the pieces crashed together. The insurance money, the recent dips in his fund. He'd staged the theft, planted the evidence, and manipulated my prejudice to perfection. As the officers turned their attention to him, I looked at Maria. The shame that washed over me was more suffocating than any scandal. I had been so blinded by my own privilege that I couldn't see the criminal sleeping in my own bed. The highest emotional point wasn't the arrest of my husband. It was the silent exchange between Maria and me. The police led a sputtering Robert away in handcuffs, his lies unraveling with every step. But in the grand foyer, now stained with the truth, only Maria, Chloe, and I remained. Maria looked at me not with anger, but with a profound, heartbreaking pity. She gathered her daughter in her arms. "Come on, baby," she whispered. She then turned her gaze to me, a woman trapped in a prison of her own making. Without a word, she walked out of my mansion, her dignity intact, leaving me utterly alone in the cavernous, silent house. The Hook's question was answered. The child saw the lie I was living, and her truth didn't just recover a bracelet, it obliterated my entire life. Maria sued me for wrongful accusation and emotional distress. She won a substantial settlement, enough to buy a small house and start her own cleaning business. I, however, lost everything. The divorce, the social exile, the humiliation, it was a total collapse. But I deserved it. That little girl taught me a brutal lesson. True poverty isn't a lack of money. It's a lack of character. I was the poorest person in that room. Now I live in a small apartment, and the memory of Maria's pity is my only companion. The shiny things are all gone, and all that's left is the reflection of who I truly was. What would you do in this situation? Tell me in the comments. And if the story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video.